43-yard attempt out of the hold of the punter, J.K. Scott. Dicker, the kicker, he's got it!
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? So a lot of news on the USC football recruiting front. So let's start off with a wide receiver from Arizona, Dorian. He just recently committed to USC within the last hour. Definitely remember this guy because when USC played them this last season a couple months ago, he went off. He had 7 catches for like 141 yards, something like that, but also 3 of those catches were touchdowns against USC. So yeah, USC laid an egg against him. They let him go off, but you know, it's always best to bring your enemies along with you. So this is actually the second or third guy they've taken from Arizona this offseason, which is pretty crazy because everybody was assuming that Arizona would be taking California players away from USC, but it looks like the exact opposite. So pretty good get here for USC in that high-powered offense for Caleb Williams next season. Then when it comes from a cornerback from the University of Arizona as well, recently decided to transfer to USC, Christian Roland-Wallace. It's not that surprising because he is actually from Palmdale, California, which is pretty close to SC and LA. But yeah, I guess USC tried to make a run at him a few years ago, but they weren't able to get him. So luckily, he is coming back home and definitely trying to be like what Mekhi Blackman was for USC, transferring from Colorado, a top, older, veteran type of Pac-12 receiver who knows the landscape and how teams play, and you know, did very good the year prior to coming to USC, did Blackman. So once again, Wallace looks like he had a very successful season, one of the top tackling cornerbacks in the Pac-12, and he is an older dude, so hopefully we'll be able to start right away and contribute to that pretty bad USC defense. Then when it comes to a 3-star defensive end from the East Coast, Elijah Hughes, apparently he committed the other day to USC. I think he's only a 3-star because he wasn't sought after as much. If he had a few more offers, he would have been an automatic 4-star, but he's a high riser, definitely, not only because of his height, because he is like 6'5", over 260 some odd pounds, but he doesn't even look like he's chunky. So that's crazy, like how much weight he is already, and trying to transfer all that to muscle and everything to make him quicker and faster. So definitely a guy who could be a project the next couple years, but could also contribute right away just because of how tall he freaking is. He's tall. You're so tall. So yeah, definitely looking forward to his future at USC. Then when it comes to the senior linebacker, Shane Lee, apparently it looks like he's going to accept his extra year of eligibility and stay at USC for at least one more season, because it looks like he pretty much said in all these interviews leading up to the Cotton Bowl that he is returning no matter what happens. So I guess he got some word from the NFL scouts that maybe he was not going to be a higher draft pick, so just come back for one more year, become a lot better of a player, and hopefully he will get drafted higher. So I'm definitely happy about that, because at least you get a veteran at the linebacker position returning for USC. And then some news came out according to On3 and a lot of like the top 247 sports recruiting databases out there, that the 5-star defensive end from out here in California, St. John Bosco, Mateo Uiagalelei, apparently got a crystal ball to USC, even though it's looking like a 2-team race between Ohio State and USC. But I think the one recruiter that really works closely with USC and has been pretty spot on with a lot of recent guys the past couple years that have been going to USC and committing has crystal balled Mateo Uiagalelei to USC. So hopefully that does happen. I know his recruiting commitment date is coming soon. I believe it's this week. At some point this week, it's like the early signing period as well. So hopefully he does sign at that time, and then we could get this whole circus over with and make sure that he will be on campus. Good to get a 5-star defensive end type of talent as he is. Could be very big for USC's defense. And then a pretty big fish out there, as they say, in the cornerback Travis Hunter, who made news because he was the top player in high school when he came out And he was committed to Florida State a lot, but then he ended up joining Deion Sanders in Jacksonville State, which is like I forget if they're a lower Division 1 or a higher Division 2, something like that. But he did pretty good his first year, and now that Coach Prime, as they call him, is headed to Colorado, everyone kind of just assumed that Travis Hunter would follow him because he followed him to a lower level school as well. But apparently some On3 reporter, recruiting guy, recently said that there are 3 other teams involved in the race for the highly coveted corner. And of course it's Miami, Georgia, and USC are in the process. And if it's just about money, probably Miami wins because they have so much money to give out. That's why they've been getting a lot of these talented younger players, and they haven't been producing the first year like USC did with the new head coach Mario Cristobal, who sucked. I think they were like 5-6, 5-7, something like that his first year there, unlike Lincoln Riley getting transfers and supposedly paying for players, as they say. But overall, if it is about winning, because Colorado is still in the mix, so he could just join his buddy in Deion Sanders and help him out there, because he's probably going to be a high draft pick anyways, as long as he's healthy. But want to come most likely win a championship, or at least be in the running to win a championship next year, go to Georgia or USC, and hopefully he does pick USC, because he's one of the main reasons why I even followed his high school team with their highlights and stuff. But overall, yeah, it could be a big time get. I even think he's sometimes a better receiver, especially when he was in high school, against being a top cornerback. But everybody projects him to be a high cornerback on defense, so I guess he's going to stick with that for his future. Then, of course, today's Monday, so yesterday's Sunday, really early in the morning here on the West Coast, around 7, Lionel Messi finally won the World Cup, the elusive World Cup that he's not been able to get. I remember, was it the 2 World Cups ago against Germany, maybe? They lost in the final, something like that. But yeah, sucks that it took him this long, because he's apparently been the GOAT, but he's never been able to capture this thing. So he finally did. Congrats to him. It was a great game. I think Argentina was up 2-0, and then eventually France scored because that Mbappe kid, he's freaking great. His speed is unbelievable for a soccer player. I think that's why he gets so many goals. But yeah, his athleticism, he's only 23, so he's gonna be a top player for like the next decade or so, especially barring any injuries. But yeah, it was a great matchup. And then, what was it, like 3-3? Then they went into extra time and penalty kicks and all that. And then France missed 2 of them, and Argentina hit all their first 4, so they ended up winning. So yeah, it was a great matchup. At least it lived up to the hype. Usually, I thought they might have let, Messi get this one too easily if he wasn't going to be playing against France. But luckily, he did have to face France and that kid Mbappe. But yeah, overall, great to see. Don't really watch much soccer on my free time, but definitely pay attention, like mostly everybody here in America, when it's like World Cup or something big like that. So congrats to Messi again. And when it comes to USC basketball, yesterday they played against Auburn, who's, I believe, the number 17 ranked team in the nation. And it was a back and forth game. Luckily, USC was able to get that victory at home, 74-71. Boogie Ellis stepped up, did really well, had 28 points. Both Joshua Morgan and Kobe Johnson, the young guys, ended up getting 10 points each as well. But overall, a good positive win for those guys. Hopefully they can continue it, and maybe it could get them ranked. Who knows? But Auburn, like I said in the last video, was a very good team, and they still are. So it is a very good positive win for USC when it comes to going into the March Madness tournament around then. So it's a good quality win, as they say. Then when it comes to Anaheim Ducks, yes, they finally got a lone victory. It's finally something I could talk about. They ended up beating the Edmonton Orioles 4-3 the other day, so congrats to them. But, usually I'm probably not going to end up talking about them for quite a bit now. Then when it comes to Caleb Williams, yes, I guess these On3 or whatever recruiting place I got this information from, they do like evaluations on how much a guy that they project might be able to make when it comes to NIL deals and get paid and, make money off of ads and stuff. So apparently he was already like around 2.5 million. And then after winning the Heisman, it already raised up to 3.2 million already, which is pretty crazy. And of course, he's still going into his final year. He's already the Heisman winner, and he has to come back to USC. So I'm pretty sure more and more people are going to want to collaborate with him and, you know, get sponsored by him, or them to sponsor him or something like that. So his evaluation is probably just going to keep going skyrocketing high up. So we'll see what happens to his future coming up. And then, yes, sadly, I think it was the other day against Denver on Friday night when the Lakers played, they ended up losing Anthony Davis to a right foot injury, which sucks because apparently they found out he could be out a couple weeks, more like a month. And that just never is good when they're evaluating something long like that, because I always double it, so it could either be a month or 2 months, especially with Anthony Davis, because of how, you know, I don't want to say soft, but how delicate he is, or his body is. So we'll see what happens. I guess they did more work, and they're going to find out a little bit later how much of an exact time he will be out. But yeah, sadly, of course, once he's playing like an MVP, then he gets hurt, like I always talk about. Then when it comes to that Friday game, yes, the Lakers ended up beating the Denver Nuggets. Pretty good win, 126-108, just because Denver is one of the top teams ahead of them in the Western Conference. So it's pretty good that they were able to do that with the bench stepping up without Anthony Davis. LeBron also passed, I forgot who he passed, but now he's 9th all-time in the career steals list in NBA history. So I guess that's something good for his future. But yeah, overall, still a good win, and hopefully they can continue it. And luckily, Sunday night, they were able to continue it. They had to play the Washington Wizards, and they barely, and I mean barely, got that victory, 119-117. LeBron himself had 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists. So yes, luckily they were able to get this win against a team that they recently beat as well, which they kind of had made it close. But yes, so they beat Washington twice, which they were supposed to do, which is good to see. LeBron did step up, but every time now at his old age, he steps up, and then, you know, something might happen injury-wise. So I hope they do make a trade soon, so he doesn't have to exert all this energy and all this stuff to, you know, hurt something here and there that ends up lingering throughout the year. So hopefully Lakers end up doing something. Come on, Rob Pelinka, please do something. And when it comes to the Chargers, yes, they ended up beating the Tennessee Titans yesterday, which didn't seem like it, but it was a really low-scoring game. It was like 7-7 at halftime, and then they finally got another score later, and then luckily they were able to get the ball back with about a minute left or so, and then they were able to go down. Justin Herbert led them down there and got the game-winning field goal by Cameron Dicker, who of course is that free agent kicker that they had to get. And I think he was like their third kicker, and he's still on the team. But yes, I think it's like his second or third. I think this is like the at least third win that the Chargers had when it comes to a field goal made. So overall, I guess it's nothing you could ask for, especially when your young guy, Justin Herbert, is still making history every single week, it seems. I think he is the only player now to have at least 4,000 yards. I don't know if it was passing or his yards and rushing altogether, but I guess 4,000 yards accumulated in his first 3 seasons each. So I guess that's some type of good history. But, you know, there have always been good quarterbacks in the past that have thrown for many yards and got all the stats. But, you know, his team is still, at least now, positively in a good place in the playoff race. They are, I think, out of the 7 teams in the AFC, they are maybe the 6th team, because the Raiders had a crazy last-second win because the Patriots basically gave it to them on a final play of the game, which knocked the Titans down, and then, which knocked the Patriots down, and then the Chargers had already beat Miami last week, who they're fighting for space and all that stuff. So yeah, as of right now, they should be the 6th team in AFC, so they're right in the middle there. As long as they keep winning out, they should get into the playoffs, but you never know. because they get Monday night next against the Indianapolis Colts, so it could be a tough game. But the Colts did just blow a 33-0 loss the other day. Or yeah, it was Saturday. They were winning 33-0 and ended up losing at the last second on a field goal by my uncle's Minnesota Vikings, who have 11 wins this year, which is freaking awesome and crazy. But yeah, we could just hope that the Chargers at least get into the playoffs with this roster, because they're finally getting healthy. A lot of their guys that were injured earlier, and can see what type of run they can make. And then when it comes to Blink-182, yes, apparently Kerrang! Magazine found out that, I forget who they talked to, but apparently they believe the new Blink-182 album will be out within the next few months. So hoping for, March or April or something like that, around Easter. A brand new Blink-182 album, and it kind of makes sense because pretty sure around that time, if not April or May, they will be on their world tour. So it still works out in the end. So definitely looking forward to that. So yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.